Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm a salty squid, the saltiest you'll find, 10 out of 10 calamari, and essentially I want to make a channel to help critique and basically just help people with their story building in OCs, because I see a lot of channels that are supposed to do that, and they're really just negativity and telling people their OCs suck, which doesn't really help. Nobody wants to do something when you tell them they suck. Even if they do, but I won't tell you that. But, yeah, so I decided to do creepypasta for my first video, because I'm edgy TM. Well, I've been in the fandom for a while, and it's just something I know a lot about, so I'm like, why not? And, yeah, that's really it, so on to the point. Point number 1. Concept. It's the thing every good story writer, animator bases their characters and story off of. It's the base root of anything creative. So, a lot of people struggle with concept, and I mean, even a flawless person such as myself, how many times can I fix my hair in one video, has problems with it. It's hard to come up with new concepts, and a problem I really see in a lot of creepypasta OCs is people kind of take their concepts from other already existing creepypasta concepts, which that's fine, you can make it work, but wouldn't you rather do something that you made from scratch? So my suggestion is find one-word prompts to make horror stories off of. For example, rose. Beautiful. It's a flower. How can we turn it gory? The setting, 1800s England. A woman is walking with her newlywed husband. She's very rich, so he just came into quite the sum of money. And he wants all of it and wants nothing to do with her. Stabs her and tosses her into a bush, a rose bush. That's how you say that. And so, legend has it that any man who has ever wronged his lover who walks upon that path at night, because it's gotta be spooky, is never heard from again, and all they find are his clothes tattered in the thorn bushes. So yeah, it's not phenomenal, but it's unique, and so just coming up with little exercises like that can really help you lead into something awesome. And again, that's really the struggle in the creepypasta community, is finding unique concepts to build something amazing off of. Point number 2, bio. So it's very common for creepypasta OCs that before the story or anything, they have their bio, which that's fantastic. A lot of characters do that, just even outside the creepypasta fandom. Now, essentially what the bio is that is the appetizer to your big story. It's giving people just enough that they're ready for the main creepypasta course. It's funny, because pasta and food, yeah. And so, a problem I see in a lot of bios is unnecessary information. A big thing that kind of grinds my gears is when people put their crush status in their bio because they're horror characters. Like, we get it, Jeffrey is a fine boy, but is that relevant to your character's story? Because personally, I just find it distracting. You don't want to take away the focus from your character by putting information such as their crush status. However, if you're doing a creepypasta OC who they're the way they are because of a slighted lover, that's the perfect thing to put in your bio, because it gives them information that's going to come up again in your story. And yeah, that's really that. Oh, and also, other thing, I'm all for LGBTQ, etc. But we don't really need to know your horror character sexuality. Again, unless it's relevant to the story, you kind of just end up in that DeviantArt trend, and it's not the best thing. But yeah, it's just my opinion. Yeah. Point number 3, and oh boy, names and shipping OCs. Oh boy. Okay, can we just lay down a rule? If your character's name, or alias, I should say, begins or ends with eyeless, killer, laughing, drowned, or ticky, maybe reconsider the alias, because I'm not saying it is, but a lot of people are just going to see that as a copy pasta, because unfortunately there are a lot of things like that. For example, this is just a random character making up off the top of my head. Eyeless Janet. She's cool. She's funky. She's her own girl. And you know why she's not Eyeless Jack? 'Cause her mask, it's pink. A booyah. Yeah, 'cause that's really the majority of what they are. Like, Nina the Killer, Laughing Jill? Is it Jane or Jill? No, yeah, it's Laughing Jill. They're just Jeff and Jack with boobs. That's it. And you really you don't want to be associated with that. So when you're looking for a name for your character, try to draw inspiration from who they are, rather than saying what they're going to be doing in the name. Like, Jeff the Killer is Jeff the Killer because he kills. Duh. Maybe draw from more who they are. What's their purpose for killing? Like, I'm trying to think. Like, Tiki Toby was actually a perfect example of this, because it wasn't Tiki the Hatchet, or that's dumb. No, bad squid, dumb example. It wasn't like Toby the Killer, or he chose Tiki because he has the ticks. It's a perfect description of who Toby is. So really think hard about that when working on your alias, and don't just cop out with a cheap killer eyeless thing. And now, the shipping OCs. I'm looking at you, Nina. So there is a difference between a shipping OC and an OC that you ship. So a shipping OC is essentially an OC that is solely made to get that sweet, sweet creepypasta knife. It's funny because penises. And really, I don't get the point in making these characters. Like, I get self-insert, maybe for the fun of roleplay, but they're essentially nothing more than accessories, fleshy accessories, for whoever you're making them to be shipped with. They have no personality, no substance. And again, if you want to make a character that's solely for RP, please, you do you. But if you really do want an OC that the community is going to take seriously, and that you can present as possibly a new addition to the creepypasta universe, maybe don't go with this route. However, there is the other option I was talking about, an OC that is shipped. Now, this is an already existing, thought-out OC, so shipping them is really just improving on an already great character. I mean, hopefully it's great. If it's not, watch this video and subscribe. Shameless self-promotion. But yeah, so for example, a good example of a good shipped OC is I have my boy Graffiti, who is one of 3 creepypasta OCs I have, and long story short, he basically sees the world and all the people in it as a zombie apocalypse. Like, he looks at a normal human and they're like this deformed monster. So he's trying to basically cure the world by, like, killing these monsters, and he's just killing normal people because he sucks. And so I was drawing EJ one day, and I was like, hey, it'd be real interesting if, because Jay sees normal people as these monsters, what if he saw a monster as a normal person? And thus, you have kind of an interesting dynamic romance. So I would really encourage that if you have a shipping OC that you'd like to turn into something more, or just an OC, experiment with some cool creepypasta ships, work it out, throw around with friends, like, hey, do you think this character would grow this character or work it out? And yeah, that's all I've got for this segment. Point number 4, the origin story. Okay, so this is where a really good concept in bio can down spiral really fast. So I think we can all agree that we've seen our fair share of CP origin stories that are essentially just, my name is Thomas Lars, and when I was 13 years old, my brother ate my fries, and I snapped. Stab, stab, kill, kill. I'm insane in a Slender Man proxy. Suck my dick, Jeff. And yeah, ridiculous example, I know. But tell me I'm wrong? Like, there are quite a few good origins out there for fan-made CP characters, but then a lot of them, the character has no real reason to snap. And this isn't even in fan-made characters. Like, just look at the Jeff the Killer origin story. Ooh, the Jeff the Killer origin story. It's so bad. Like, I love Jeffrey, but you can't... Bleach doesn't make your skin... He would have no hair. Okay, we're getting off topic, but... He is a big name in the creepypasta community. And if you look at his story... There is no real reason for him to just suddenly snapped. He was protecting people when he got burned by the children. He had this really close connection with his brother that they kind of just threw out the window. This is all really important when you're making an origin story. Think about what kind of connections you're forming. If you have a close family bond, one sibling is not just going to suddenly turn on the sibling unless there are very extreme measures. That's another thing. Mental disorders. So please, when you're making your creepypasta character, do not just take your Neko OC and slap bipolar on it. I'm not saying you can't have a bipolar Neko OC, but if you do some research. It has very, very good effects on how your character comes out. Because, one, people are gonna be able to tell that you did your research and you know what you're talking about, and you didn't just slap a disorder that you've heard about on the internet onto an OC to make them edgy and a creepypasta. And two, it's gonna make your character a lot more lifelike, and in certain instances, even scarier. Can you think about how Jeff's story could have been better if during the hospital, when he was alone and in pain and angry and his only company was himself? Imagine how much better the story would have been if we had gotten that illustration of another almost personality forming as like his only company and comfort was in his own like sickening mind. It could have been really, really good. And so pick up where Jeffrey left off or what Jeffrey could have been. I'm good at speaking. And make your OC phenomenal. And yeah, that's it for that. One more to go. And this is the last segment, number 5, CRAPPYPASTAs. And this is where, for my personal enjoyment, you take all the advice I've just given you and throw it out the door. Just throw it out the window. Just put it in a box and crush it. Because CRAPPYPASTAs are one of my favorite things in the world. And before you're like, hey, aren't you trying to teach us how to not make CRAPPYPASTAs? No. I'm trying to teach you how to not make a bad OC. a creepypasta, by my definition, is a creepypasta OC or a creepypasta story where it's purposely bad. Like, they make it as cringy as possible because they can. It's like me saying, hi, meet my OC, laughing eyeless ticky Janet, the killer. She has rainbow hair and Neko ears, and she is Slender Man's girlfriend, but Jeff the killer is IRL jealous, but she doesn't care because she knows she can get whoever she wants. They're so good. That's my nut button right there, my creepy nut button. So you're probably wondering, hey, why are you bringing this up? I'm getting there. So, the video is basically over. Get out. Why are you still here? I'm dumb. But, I'm gonna open up that if I get enough of a response for this, my next video is going to be me critiquing OCs that you have sent in. And I know that seems really scary because they're like, who is this person on the internet asking for my personal OC, hashtag do not steal? Well, I'm an art student and I personally believe in constructive criticism. So don't expect I'm not taking your OC to bash it or make fun of it. If you send me an OC, I want to help you improve it. So I'll probably choose about 3 that I'll critique. And lastly, I want one sent-in creepypasta that I can just read and just share your brilliance to the world. And so yeah, that's why I mentioned creepypastas, solely because I want multiple ones sent in to my Gmail, which is posted below at saltysquid@gmail.com. So yeah, hope this helped. And if it didn't, oh well. Yeah, oh well, I worked hard on this. I'm sorry if it didn't work. And if you thought there were things I could have done better, please comment below. And yeah, that's it. So keep on inking, Squid.